TV7 Israel News is made possible thanks to your generous donation. Shalom ve'erev tov, good evening. Welcome to our daily TV7 Israel News Bulletin broadcast from Jerusalem. President Donald Trump postpones a massive offensive against the Islamic Republic of Iran that after Gulf countries intervened, urging Washington to give diplomacy yet another chance. The Ayatollah regime claims that contrary to voiced claims by President Trump, there is no diplomatic track currently between the United States and Iran. And Israelis voiced deep mistrust over a reported deal to disarm the Islamist Hamas in the Gaza Strip. The United States and Israel were set to launch a decisive offensive against the Islamic Republic of Iran over the weekend. However, following separate phone conversations with Gulf Arab countries, as well as an Iranian effort to dissuade the attack, the large-scale offensive was called off by President Donald Trump.
What prompted you to call off the strikes last night?
I was asked to by Saudi Arabia, by UAE, and by Qatar, and by Iran. We were all set to go. It's about at this time right now, and it would have been a massive attack. We're all set to go, but when the allies asked to call it off, you got to sort of say, well, let's see. And the reason they asked is they think there's a deal. There's a deal on Hormuz, and then there will be a deal on the nuclear, or you might call it the denuclearization of Iran. I call it the denuclearization of Iran.
President Trump continued by noting Iranian claims of wanting to reach a diplomatic resolution. And if the Iranians fail to follow through, the American and Israeli forces are ready to launch the planned attack at any given moment.
We're holding it. We'll just see. We can do it anytime we want. But we were asked by the three primary groups. We were also asked by Iran, very strongly actually. They said, we'd like to make a deal. Now, I don't know what they say, because a lot of times they'll say that to me and then they'll go out and say, we don't know what he's talking about. Obviously, they don't want to be attacked. And they knew the extent of the attack because they saw it forming.
The American leader further revealed that the intended attack was expected to constitute the most devastating offensive since World War II.
Well, now what we're doing is we're talking to them in the form of a negotiation. It begins tomorrow afternoon, and we'll see if it's true. I'd love to do that, save a lot of lives, save a lot of unnecessary power, to be honest with you. It would take many, many years to ever build it back. If it could, I don't think it would be even buildable back. So we had an attack that would be the biggest attack since World War II, and it would have been disastrous for them. And they didn't want us to do it. And frankly, Saudi Arabia didn't want it either. They thought that a deal is imminent.
Israeli media reports claim that the IDF, which was standing by to support U.S. Central Command in the fight against the Ayatollah regime in Iran, as well as Israeli political officials, were caught off guard by President Trump's decision to call off the planned attack on Iran and to renew negotiations. Nevertheless, Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz, in a roundtable interview with Channel 14's leading conservative program, Patriotim, insisted that Jerusalem was fully apprised of President Trump's considerations.
I know what is going on. Naturally, I will not elaborate on the Iran topic. One statement can be made: if Iran attacks Israel, it will absorb a decisive blow, and by the way, it knows it. At this moment in time, we are the only ones that are not attacked, despite that this could change at any moment, and we are well prepared for any scenario.
Meanwhile, in Tehran, Iranian Foreign Ministry spokesman Ismail Baghei insisted, in contrast to President Trump's belief, that there are no negotiations currently between the Ayatollah regime and the United States.
We currently do not have negotiations with America. The negotiations are with Oman and are focused on reaching an understanding over a path to ensure the security of shipping passage through the Strait of Hormuz. Our effort is to, at the first opportunity, with consultation and cooperation with Oman, determine a route that will naturally be temporary. Based on that, we can provide the security of shipping in the Strait of Hormuz. As I said, we are neither scheduled to host a delegation from abroad in the coming days, nor are we scheduled to be hosted somewhere ourselves.
The Iranian Foreign Ministry spokesman further highlighted the talks with the Sultanate of Oman focused on the Ayatollah regime's insistence on effectively controlling the Strait of Hormuz by redirecting any and all maritime navigation close to Iran's shoreline.
The negotiations have focused on turning the southern route, which passes through Oman's territorial waters, and the northern route, which passes through Iran's territorial waters, into a single intermediate route that would ensure the considerations and interests of both coastal countries. Therefore, we are currently talking about one corridor that will have a route for both inbound and outbound traffic, not 2 or 3 permitted routes.
It is worth noting that while the Iranians remain unrelenting in efforts to gain control over the Strait of Hormuz, shipping sources have told American news outlets that between 3 and 5 million barrels per day are flowing through the Strait of Hormuz daily via the southern shipping lane near the Sultanate of Oman. And while the RGC attempts to target and relays threats to vessels passing through that shipping lane, U.S. naval forces continue to provide more than adequate security. In tandem, according to a number of estimates, between 7 and 9 million barrels of crude oil per day are also flowing through the east to west pipeline in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and the Emirati Fujairah energy facilities, which essentially bypasses the Strait of Hormuz. Meanwhile, during President Donald Trump's cabinet meeting at Camp David over the weekend, Secretary of the Treasury Scott Bessent revealed the devastating state which Iran's economy is currently facing in light of Operation Economic Fury, which also includes a naval blockade on all Iranian ports.
As we've gone from epic fury to economic fury to constrict, on your orders, constrict the Iranian regime's the financial tentacles all around the world. We started it, on your orders, we started in March 2025. In December of 2025, the largest bank in Iran collapsed. The central bank had to print money. Caused inflation. Now they got 180% inflation. They aren't able to pay their troops. And on your orders, we are searching for their assets all around the world, and that money will go to the Iranian people, Americans who have been harmed by the Iranians, whether the USS Cole or the barracks in Lebanon, or it will go back to when the Iranians attacked the ships coming out.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio, for his part, seized the opportunity to highlight progress on the Lebanese portfolio, with Israeli and Lebanese delegations reportedly continuing to hold talks in the Italian capital of Rome on advancing peace.
We've had some successes in the Middle East, Mr. President. As you know, in the diplomatic front, the deal with Lebanon and Israel is unprecedented. President Ayoun was here a week ago. I think that was the first visit by a Lebanese president in over 30-some-odd years. In fact, this is the first time the Israelis and the Lebanese government have spoken at the official level in close to 30 years. And that was thanks to your leadership. A lot of work to be done to keep that peace and build on it, but it's a real achievable. And of course, as you announced last night, Mr. President, this disarmament deal that you brought about with Steve and Jared's work on Hamas is another big step as well. It's something a lot of people thought would never happen. It needs to happen, but the fact they've even agreed to it is a real achievable.
While Secretary Rubio voicing optimism vis-a-vis a deal to have the Islamist Hamas terror organization disarm in the Gaza Strip and Israel to gradually withdraw from the terror-infested territory is viewed in Israel with much skepticism, particularly among residents of southern Israel who were subject to the atrocities which the Islamist Hamas had committed against them on October 7th of 2023.
You know, when terrorists promise that they will stop killing, but almost the only issue on their belief is wiping off the Jewish-only country in the world, it's a kind of a lie that you tell to yourself so you can sleep better at night. We did it for 20 years. We told ourselves stories. It was our hopes, and we hoped that our dreams will come true. And it all blasted on October 7th.
They will come back again. This is their plan. They will come back again. We, also after what had happened on October 7th, we evidently refused to listen to the truth that they are pronouncing. We put them to work here, and we thought that there will be peace and prosperity. This is a lie that we don't believe.
Thank you for watching TV7 Israel News, which is made possible by the generosity of our viewers. If you're blessed by our productions and would like to help support TV7 Israel, which operates as a nonprofit, you can donate via our website at www.tv7israelnews.com. Please keep praying for the peace of Jerusalem and salvation of Israel. I'm Jonathan Hessen, wishing you a Shavua Mevorach, and God willing, until our next update, Shalom from Jerusalem.